Hi guys, welcome to today's album review. We will be reviewing Danny Brown with his album Atrocity Exhibition. So Brett made the choice. So Brett, tell us what you thought of the album.
I think I'll start by saying I kind of wish I'd picked Shrek's soundtrack now. That gives a sum up without there. Now, I'll be honest, obviously my background, I've never, like hip hop and rap has never been the genre I've been most into, or maybe that's not fair, maybe the genre I've know least about, so we say. I remember in series one, we listened to a band called Tribe Called Quest. And that was sort of a different introduction into sort of hip hop. Okay, a little bit different. Then, obviously, in series two, we had Tyler the Creator, which no doubt, I was a very big fan of in the end. And I think the trouble was, I don't think he's going to beat Tyler the Creator. This is definitely along those sort of lines. There obviously were differences. This obviously felt a bit more hardcore, I would say, a bit more swearing, a bit more unusual, but I didn't like it. I wasn't a fan of that, which is an unusual for me. Mr. Positive looks at good things from that. There were good things I could take from the album and might be able to go through those as we go through the songs. But overall, the album didn't over enjoy it. But I say I don't know whether my previous experience of a similar artist and Tyler the Creator and his album has just set the bar a bit differently to me. It could have been very different if I heard this first before Tyler the Creator. Maybe I would have said differently about Tyler the Creator. I don't know. It just didn't work for me. It's really hard to put a finger on it. Why I didn't get so much enjoyment from it. Maybe might help when you put sort of your views with that as well. And I will just say, obviously, look at what atrocity means as a word. An extremely wicked or cruel act, typically one involving physical violence or injury. And that's probably how my mind may have felt after listening to this album. So a bit harsh there.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I'd pretty much echo everything you've said there. I know that you quite enjoyed. So what's it called from the previous series? The album you just said.
The album was Igor.
Yeah, Igor.
Yeah.
I know you quite like that one, and obviously we were kind of a little bit not excited, but we thought, okay, this is experimental hip hop according to the Wikipedia genre, and I think, like you said, yeah, there were some kind of similarities, but I think definitely Tyler the Creator, Igor was definitely better. For me, yeah, again, like I said, everything you've said there, I agree with. I didn't like this at all. Now, you said you couldn't pinpoint what you didn't like about it. I think I could be a little bit more specific.
Yeah, help me out.
The voice, the rapping voice.
I didn't want to, because, yeah, one of the first comments I made was about his voice. And I said, I never like saying, because I don't always want that to be sort of reflection of the album or the music. But I said there's loads of artists I like who've got really strange, unusual voices and still really like them. I remember we spoke about, I can't remember what they're called now, the Japanese bands, Japanese rock punk band, and their voice just didn't match with that. And it was also the same thing in a way. But yeah, I think what maybe, I don't know if it became a plus or a minus from it, is then obviously there were different artists on some of the tracks. So it was kind of nice because then you at least got a break from his voice and those songs seemed a little bit better. But then did it then just make his voice seem more unusual and not what I enjoyed from it? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you don't like the voice of a singer, rap, whatever, I think you've got to say it, because that's a huge part of it, isn't it? I don't think it's something you should be shying away from. I think for me, the voice was just ruined it completely. I mean, I'm not saying I would have liked it if his voice had been normal, but the fact his voice was like that really sort of was like, annoying me. I think the word annoying probably comes to mind here. And again, like you said, there was a lot of swearing. It was probably a little bit more hardcore than Tyler the Creator's album Igor. So yeah, everything you said, I would echo. Yeah, and I didn't like it either. So if we go through each track, well, before we do that, it was a bit like as soon as he started singing, and then after the different tracks went through, I was trying to like put like a picture to his voice. So it was like from a cartoon character. It was always like a cartoon character voice. I think I've ended up putting like voice like Bugs Bunny in the end. And then it's almost like he kind of just picks a different background track and raps over it. Like every single track, there's like a different kind of sound going on, maybe like echoes of a person or some sort of voice in the background of some sort. And to me, it just sounds like he's just kind of rapping over that. I don't know. It's obviously artistic, but if you're not really into that sort of stuff, it's quite difficult to really appreciate, I think.
Yeah, totally agree. And there were some tracks where actually I really enjoyed sort of the background music and probably trying more to drown him out and listen more to the background music. But yet it's still, and I said, I'll probably refer back to Tyler quite a lot here. He for some reason just made it work. Admittedly, he probably doesn't rap as much as Danny Brown, I would say, but somehow makes that all work really well. Whilst it was literally Danny Brown picked a random song or tune he thought we might like or not heard, and just wasn't even and just talking, rapping, seeing where he was doing over it. So yeah, shame.
Okay, so if we start going through the tracks. First of all, let me just say, fair play, because it's just track after like songs after song. There's no messing around with those silly interludes or introductions or endings or any of that stuff that I've often criticised. So I'll give him that. At least he's just gone for like, just this normal songs, like tracks.
And he's kept it short as well.
Yeah, and the main that they were short. So first one, Downward Spiral, I'm like, what is up with the voice? Again, I put like an annoying cartoon character. Awful sound, complete mess of sounds and voice. Just an overall dreadful start to the album. Hated it.
Yeah, not a great start. However, the background music was quite calm and quite nice. But that's odd. But then I thought maybe it's just like a first introduction track. We've had other artists where they've had alien sounds and I thought maybe it was just maybe playing like a voice machine kind of thing, just as the first track, because that was quite a cool thing to do. But lo and behold, no, it turns out it wasn't.
The next one was interesting. Tell me what I don't know. So bearing in mind this is only the second song, I noted down normal voice. So if I'm not mistaken here, for this second track, he was singing with more of a kind of normal voice here. And I kind of thought that would be a sign of things to come. I didn't realize he was then going to go back to that really weird cartoon character style voice. So yeah, normal voice. Background music doesn't seem to fit. Just a poor song. Like, I don't know, the link between the background music and his style of rapping just didn't seem to work for me.
Yeah, no, exactly. I felt like he almost, and I said earlier, almost like played it. It was almost like he was expecting a different song to be playing in the background, didn't realise and just sort of carried on with it. Now, whether it was him singing, I don't know. I don't know if it was someone else, but yeah, it was definitely different. That's what made me think maybe the first one was just using a voice machine. It was just having to play around with that or something. Yeah, not awful, but definitely could have been a lot better.
Okay, Rolling Stone. So again, this annoying rapping voice came back. There was a guest singer called Petit Noir, and I put down at least that singer sort of sang normally, just to kind of get me away from that annoying Danny Brown. But again, it was just a poor, boring song. It didn't really grab my attention.
Yeah. This is where I started writing about Tyler, because then I could say, okay, this is sort of the same sort of avenue, except for Just Going Down, as I said, just not as good. I think it definitely seemed a lot better. Again, I just found myself just trying to listen to the background music more often than not.
Okay, really dough. So again, the silly voice again. Different rap parts. This one had different rappers in it. This was the longest track on the album, so I think that allowed it to kind of develop a bit more, because I guess most of the other tracks on the album were pretty short. So I thought this one did develop well. The chorus wasn't bad, and best so far from a bad bunch. And to be honest, probably one of the best tracks on the album. I think it was helped just by the fact there were different rappers in it. We weren't just listening to Danny Brown's silly cartoon character voice. But I didn't like it. I just thought it was better than the others, really.
Yeah. I sort of added here as well. Yeah, it's the second rapper who came on who I thought was a lot better. And again, people just maybe I probably did like Danny Brown more because of the other rappers. Another thing, just not I was really trying to listen, but we've talked about this before, but just couldn't make out what he was saying at any point. I know he's rapping very fast. I know that's again a good skill, but just the only thing I picked up from it was mother effer. That's the only thing I distinctly picked out from it. Otherwise, I mean, if I was really trying, maybe I could, but just too quick, too high pitched, too annoying to listen to.
I think that's a good point. That's something that you're going to notice in my notes soon. I've made notes where I've said I can't understand what he's saying. So yeah, totally agree with that. Lost. Very odd. There was rapping with like some woman's voice in the background on loop that keeps cutting out. And Danny's rapping voice is really annoying. Shortest track on the album, just a complete mess of a song.
Yeah, and something that again, sort of the taking of different music and the women singing, I think potentially could have been quite good. But like I said, it's sort of cut in a strange place, and it was just the same loop, and probably really after listening to it a few times, have her just then she became even more annoying when probably it shouldn't have been. I don't know, just it was like he was using a program for the first time and just didn't know, just messed up a little bit or wasn't expecting to do that. I don't know. The positive I put here, at least it was a short song.
Yeah. Okay. Ain't it funny? Again, I know this is a continuous theme. Awful rapping voice, annoying chorus, quite repetitive, poor song. Didn't like it.
Yeah, this is probably what I'm going to say quite a long way through. At least this was a bit, I put here, a little bit more upbeat, so at least had a different feel to it. But again, I just found myself really trying to listen to the background music. That's the most enjoyment I probably got from it. And yeah, I put the same words here, repetitive. It's just the same.
Gold Dust. Fast-paced rap, so it upped the tempo a bit. But like you were saying, I just couldn't understand any of it partly because of his awful voice. So high-pitched. The background music was okay. Just a dreadful song overall. So yeah, again, like you, sometimes the background music was all right. I didn't have a problem with that. It was just how he was rapping over it. It was just spoiled it completely.
Yeah, totally agree. And I know we talked about. I think with rap music as well. I think, as we know, it's more about the lyrics and what he's probably talking about, which is what people probably like about it. And I said for us, it just we can't. And I guess doesn't help with it. And I've said here, and it's weird because obviously you normally like the rap elements in songs and stuff. But I find here the rapping bit just ruins it.
Yeah, it doesn't help when you can't understand a word of what he's saying, really. White lines, cartoon voice, completely uncomprehendable lyrics. So again, couldn't understand a word of it. Just dreadful.
Yeah, the only thing I know is probably talking about drugs because obviously I think White Line's meant to be in reference to cocaine, and apparently it did say some of that he used to be a drug dealer as well. So I hope people could hear what order was given out and wasn't saying it too quickly for them to realise. But again, yeah, same stuff in the music. This one at least was about drugs.
Yeah, next one, Pneumonia. Perhaps this one wasn't as bad. The rapping felt a little bit better. There was a bell noise in the background, like a bell ringing kind of thing. Quite a bit going on with the sounds and rapping. So yeah, a bit slightly better maybe.
Yeah, I sort of put that as well. Seems like more normal, really. I felt like the rapping, the hip hop here was a bit more like Snoop Dogg. Put sort of reference to that. I feel like you can sort of understand a bit more. But again, I say that it was still hard to work out. I could only really hear the N words being repeated a few times. Which again, I haven't got a problem. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Just the only thing I could really pick out from it.
Okay. Then we have Dance in the Water. Unexpected start with the choice of music. Then the sort of the weird rap sound started. Again, just felt like such a mess. The voice spoiled everything. Again, the background music was okay. It was like a kind of woman singing something like oh wah, I put down. Can't remember exactly what it was, but something like that. But yeah, just in general, the rapping spoiled it.
Yeah, again, that's exactly the same lines. Rap still ruins it. But yeah, what a change from the start of it coming from the other songs. And I was thinking, okay, hang on, we've still got 5 songs here. Maybe this is maybe the first, normally we've had the end of the album's been a lot worse. Maybe the start of the album's the worst bit. Maybe now it could be a bit like this. But then the rap comes in, ruins it down for me. And I did find it was kind of a catchy chorus, so it did have potential of being quite a good pop, rap, hip hop kind of song. But it lost a lot of that potential throughout.
Okay. From the Ground. So a normal voice rapping with a woman in the background. She was called Kelela. So the singing from the woman just didn't mix well with the rapping, but it was still better than all the previous tracks. But it was a pointless track because it was so short. I don't know. To me, it was like didn't quite get the link between like the woman singing and then this rapping going on. The link, the connection wasn't there for me.
Yeah, I get that. This would have been my pick of the tracks from the whole album, which I know is probably not saying a lot. Again, felt a bit more like sort of the Tyler the Creator kind of feel to it. The guy rapping also just felt a lot better. But I agree that even with the women's music, it still didn't quite work as well as it could have done. But for me, it was still the best of a bad bunch for me.
Yeah, I think for me as well, one of the best ones. I did say there, better than all previous tracks. So I guess probably yeah, one of my favorites. From a Bad Bunch, of course. When It Rained, stupid voice again, quite intense, poor, but slightly better than most of the others, perhaps. That's all I put there.
Yeah, and I feel bad. I feel really bad now saying that. But yeah, as soon as Danny came onto it from that last track, it just mentally, I just switch off. I just feel like I can't listen again. But with this one, again, the music did seem a little bit better. Again, probably wasn't the worst, but for me, Danny didn't improve things.
Okay. Today, didn't have much to say on this one. I was listening to it, kind of thinking, what should I write? And in the end, by the end of it, I was just like, well, it's just another typical Danny Brown track. Just nothing really to add to that. Just not up to much.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. The only other thing I've put here is there was sort of like a weird chorus to it. But I think at this point, yeah, same as the others, just not feeling it.
Okay, Get High. To me, this is one of the most interesting songs on the album. So, intriguing start, relaxing background music. So, from what I can understand, this was a bit more understandable because it was a bit more kind of a lot lower pace, more relaxed. It was kind of like about rolling a spliff, getting high, and it was an easier to listen to track than the others. Less intense, but look, it was all about smoking weed. Quite a sleepy track, but they've purposely done that, trying to be quite clever. Because obviously, when you're smoking weed, you're kind of zoning out, kind of thing. Didn't quite get the meaning of the name of the song, Get High, but spelt high as in like high, like hello kind of high, rather than HIGH. I'm not quite sure what the meaning, the reason for that. So yeah, probably one of the better tracks for me, but singing about drugs, not really into that, to be honest, but yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, again, actually really liked sort of the background music. It definitely had a different sort of feel to it as well. I did feel he probably was high on drugs whilst probably doing this one. It was also a bit sort of reminds me of like having like you've had an angry younger sibling. I don't know, just the way he was rapping, the way he was done, I don't know. But yeah, going back to the high bit, the only thing I can think is that maybe to be not to literally get high, maybe it's just a thing where they can actually put about getting high on an album title without actually saying that, if that makes sense. That's the only thing I can think, but yeah, it's obviously the high as in hello is definitely for the high as in high on drugs.
And the last song, Hell for It, pretty much has summed up the album for me. Again, struggling to write down anything of note. Just a typically poor song to end the album. Nothing noteworthy happened here. And then just happy that the album is over.
Yeah, okay. The exact words per here. Don't think I can say anything different than I've done before, but I did make a note. Again, the background music in this was actually quite good. So I said there was potential in some way. And I said, I don't know if you just mixed it up or just why, and that's why I found it hard to start to think, why did it not work? So I said, there's definitely potential. It's definitely the right idea what I wanted to do, but it just didn't work for me. And obviously for you as well.
Yeah. So I guess that's it. If we're going to sum up everything, yeah, just a poor album. We're not really into kind of like this sort of rap stuff, but we have seen it work for us, especially for you with the Eagle album, Tyler the Creator, an album you weren't expecting to like, but you did. So I think we're open to this style of music. It's just it didn't work for me. I think it's pretty obvious why it didn't work. It was the voice. I just could not stand that high-pitched cartoon character style voice. I don't know if he was like putting that voice on, especially for the album, or if that is his normal rapping voice, because I haven't listened to his other stuff. I don't know, but yeah, it was unbearable for me. And the way it just didn't work. The rapping, the background music, and some of the other artists that came in. No, the whole thing was just didn't work for me. I didn't like it. How would you say?
Yeah, there's nothing more I can add to that. Sums up sort of how I feel there as well. It would be interesting if we heard some of his other stuff, and is he just like this more? And this, I imagine he probably is the same on other albums. I don't see why it would be any different, particularly on this in comparison to others. And I said this sort of genre is generally not my forte. It's not what I'm most familiar with. As I have said, obviously I have been more open to things in the past. So and again, maybe had that sort of high expectations from maybe some previous stuff. I don't know. But yeah, it won't be an album I would listen to fondly again very quickly.
Yeah, I did check out the Shrek album, and I was like, "Damn, why didn't you choose that?" It looked like there's some decent songs on there, but okay, wasn't to be. We move on to the next one. So join us on Wednesday, and you'll see what album I end up picking. So guys, see you soon. Goodbye.